First, we want to get you updated on those water rescues that are happening right now.
Yeah, Paul mentioned that. That's in the Bordeaux area. So Channel 4's Ann McCloy's live on Fairview Drive. And this whole neighborhood you're in had to be cleared out just about an hour and a half ago because that water was rising. So kind of walk us through what happened.
You can see the home right behind me. It's the closest to Drake's Creek, which is very, very full right now. And we've just had all of this rain come down, causing this flash flooding. You can see how high the water is in this front yard. And the residents here have been trying to pull their cars out of the yard because they were basically filling up with water. Also, right next door, 2 people had to be carried out earlier on. And I'm told a lot of these residents were just sleeping, and this totally caught them off guard. Earlier on, we captured video of other water rescues happening in the area. This is Fairview Drive. We're in Bordeaux, and if you're familiar with the area, Clarksville Pike is the main stretch that takes you through, and the little side streets off of Clarksville Pike are the ones being majorly affected. You're seeing debris in the road, and the water is rising around this area.
Several other water rescues, another one, in fact, underway in the Madison area.
Yeah, Channel 4 photojournalist Ryan Smith is joining us now on the phone with the latest there. So what can you tell us, Ryan? We're hearing that a person's stuck in a car.
Yeah, there's a man that's trapped in his car. Looks like he made it to a spot right outside of this Express Mart. And as you can see, he's just on the other side of the water there, waiting it out. And I think he's lucky that he's in a spot where the water hasn't got to him, because if you look just to the right, there's a lot of water on Webster. This is East Webster Street. A lot of businesses underwater. There have been some cars still trying to navigate this, but in fact, there's a truck right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's
see that.
trying to stop there, trying to decide whether or not it's going to go through some of that.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. He should definitely turn around.
I do want to warn you as well, if you're traveling Briley Parkway heading up into the Opryland area, the right lanes of Briley Parkway are underwater right now at the Gallatin Pike exit. A lot of problems up in Bordeaux and Madison in particular. Here are the roads that are closed because of flooding issues.
We don't have nowhere to go.
I'm lost for words.
3 years ago, it was a slow riser. Today, a gusher.
When I opened the door, all the water came in.
But no matter the yardstick you use to measure it,
The May flood didn't get into our home. This one is well up to the light switches.
this one is bad.
It was worse this time because the last time it didn't get in my apartment.
Channel 4 News is working for you as our city cleans up from another flood. And welcome to Channel 4 News at 4. I'm Jeremy Finley in the studio.
And I'm Demetria Kaladimos out in Madison, in the spot where they got the worst of it. A heavy downpour pushed a building off its foundation, left people trapped and scrambling from the high water.
And Demetria, images we haven't seen since the historic flood of 2010 came back in a rush of water today. People stranded on their rooftops, and interstate and side roads underwater. Water so fierce, an entire building was torn off its foundation. And more rain is headed our way. Within the last half hour, Nashville Mayor Carl Dean held a news conference to discuss the city's response to the floods. And let's get back out to Demetria and Madison with some of the worst flooding. Demetria.
Boy, Jeremy, this afternoon when the mayor spoke, he said this is nowhere near the 2010 flood, but that's little consolation to folks out here in Madison. This is an old motel court style building, and it had 2 straight buildings up until this morning. This section that sits right on Gibson Creek literally slid right off its foundation when that quick, heavy downpour came in. The mayor told us there were 211 calls for help citywide this morning. Most of those people were stranded either in their homes or in cars. Most of those calls came in before 10 a.m. Now, the Red Cross has set up 2 shelters for people that needs a place to stay tonight. One is at Mount Zion Baptist Church, 7594 Old Hickory Boulevard. Another is the Hadley Park Community Center. That's 1037 28th Avenue North, and we'll have those addresses, of course, on our website. He also said what items, all the stuff messed up, can be set out on the curb for Public Works to pick up. Again, nowhere on the scale of the 2010 floods, he said, and at this point, as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, things were winding down.
At 3 o'clock today, we transitioned the headquarters for our emergency response from an area command in the field to our emergency operations center here. The highly capable team of people behind me and their talented staffs are working hard to keep our citizens safe and address some limited damage to public infrastructure.
Now, if there is a silver lining, it's that the Titans preseason game tonight and the first concert of Live on the Green are both a go, according to the mayor. But he cautions there still may be bad road damage and maybe even some high water in places, so be very careful driving. You know, you can see pictures and video of floodwater, but until it's rushing into your house, carrying away your things, you really don't know a flood. In the hours just before dawn this morning, that's when the worst was happening in Bordeaux. Ann McCloy was there when people were leaving their homes, some of them on piggyback.
Yeah, Demetria, to give you a visual, I'm 5'4", and the floodwaters in this neighborhood came up 5 feet high, according to the residents that live here, enough to carry away cars. This one still hung up in these wires. You can see it took out that trash can up against that tree, and it came from 2 blocks away. But the homeowners, the residents in this neighborhood, some of them, they couldn't get in their cars, so they had to bust out windows and climb. With their homes surrounded by floodwater, some residents had nowhere to go but up.
She was on top of a car. Her nephew, a grandson was on top of the roof. And the helicopters, I think they were going to try to drop a line and get us, but she's too old. She didn't let them do that.
Air 4 was there as the grandson tried waving down rescue workers, wading through the overflown Ewing Creek.
I called 911, asked them, can you get a boat over here? Well, the water was too choppy for even a boat to get over here. It was like a lake in my front yard.
Other residents tried saving their cars, but the waters won.
We were sitting there just watching them float on by, hoping that there wasn't nobody in them.
Some families along the creek decided to take their chances and float away.
All of a sudden we see them floating out on a mattress. It was the lady and then her baby was on the mattress.
First responders eventually reached the homes where help was needed.
Well, he told me he was going to walk right beside of me and hold on to me. He wasn't going to let me fall. He was real nice.
They used ladders to guide this family off the rooftop and off to safety.
I'm just thankful. Wasn't any worse. Good Lord was with me.
Live with breaking news.
First, an apparent twister forms, and it's captured on video. Now the aftermath. This view from Air 4 shows what's left of a farm in southern Kentucky after powerful storms swept through.
I'll tell you, when you see a truck that looks like this flipped over on its side and completely smashed in, you know this was a pretty powerful storm.
Live with breaking news.
We, the jury, found the defendant guilty of first-degree felony murder.
Guilty on all counts. It took just 2 hours for the jury to convict a young mother of murder. Now Lindsay Lowe is on her way to prison after an emotional trial. Good evening. Welcome to Channel 4 News at 5. Our breaking news coverage continues now.
Take a look at that. So a dramatic rescue occurred here just about an hour and a half ago. This truck just careened off of I-65. You work in this business, you see the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. We've seen the best of humanity.
It doesn't take much for a fire like this to spread to the next building, and it looks like crews have been able to keep it to just that one building. Right. They've been working for about 45 minutes to an hour to do that, and they're hoping that that is done, that's accomplished, that they're able to just keep it at that one, but that's still about 12 apartments lost.
They are currently investigating, but beyond that, they're not able to offer many specifics about the crash. Let me get out of the way and show you what we're talking about. This is the scene that's unfolded here on 2 Center, and it looks like the debris really runs the gamut of, I would say, a couple hundred feet. In this live picture, you will note a wide variety of yellow cones, and those are sort of, at this point, it appears, establishing the boundary for the amount of damage that we have here. Right now, it is not clear whether this plane was taking off or trying to land, but I will tell you, when we first arrived to the scene here about half an hour ago, it was a very, very foggy morning. It remains unclear, however, whether that played a part in this morning's crash.
I almost feel like I paid someone to come in here and steal my stuff.
Our year started when we set out to document a cleaning crew accused of stealing from clients, including cancer patients. We set up an apartment with hidden cameras and hired that crew. We just didn't count on our own hidden cameras being stolen. Well, not all our cameras. This one captured the head of the cleaning service, Zach Jones, scoping out jewelry we'd placed throughout the apartment. And there's one of our missing cameras in his hand. We finally tracked him down by phone.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'd like to have my cameras back.
I'd like to have my attorney, but we can't always get what we want, can we?
Jones denied everything, but the jewelry from those clients and our cameras are still missing. Jones is among the several people this year slapped with criminal charges after our investigations aired. Ashley King was indicted for aggravated statutory rape, solicitation of a child, and harboring runaways after the Channel 4i team found runaway girls at the foreclosed home where he was accused of squatting.
Can you tell me what you were doing with those girls?
The girls were later found. The U.S. Marshals is now looking for both King and Jones. But they don't have to look for Kevin Simmons. He was indicted on a felony charge of official misconduct after the Channel 4i team worked with an inmate in Riverbend Prison and his fiancée to expose how contraband was being smuggled into the high-security prison. We collected phone calls, including this one, where a correctional officer, later identified as Kevin Simmons, discusses bringing contraband into the prison.
I have a lot to lose to do something like this.
You take a risk just like I do.
I'll be honest with you, it scares me.
We both have a lot to lose.
After the Channel 4i team brought our findings to the state, the TBI conducted a sting and Simmons was charged. Simmons later told me he never intended to bring contraband into Riverbend.
What you're about to see may change your perception of what's happening behind bars.
The Channel 4i team investigation exposes shocking video and photograph of what's apparently happening in our prisons. Inmates having a good time while your tax dollars pay for their food and housing. And perhaps the most stunning part of all of it is how the Channel 4i team caught them. Here's our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley.
Well, we uncovered all this simply by getting on Facebook. And you're probably thinking, well, you have to have a phone or a computer to get on Facebook, and inmates don't have either behind bars. That's the problem. These inmates are operating the pages, not someone on the outside. And what they're showing themselves doing is infuriating victims and has the state facing real questions. Prison's rough, right? You're in a cell all day, the food isn't good, little to no communication with the outside, right?
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Well, welcome to Prison Life 2013. Drugs, smokes, mounds of snacks, cash, getting tattoos, the freedom to make music, even set things on fire, using forbidden technology to show it all off on Facebook.
This is the penitentiary, you hear me? Back there relaxing, you know what I'm talking about?
Relaxing, eating pizza, getting high, while you're paying for them to be here.
Anybody who sees those videos, they're going to be sickened by it, they're going to be angered by it.
And we're not talking about just a few inmates who figured out how to get on Facebook. Not 10, not 20, not 50. A Channel 4i team investigation found more than 100 inmates in Tennessee prisons with Facebook pages. Their profile pictures taken inside their cells. Pages the inmates are operating from behind bars to communicate with family, friends, fellow gang members, even with inmates in other prisons.
I guarantee you that when the commissioner sees this, there's going to be a reckoning, and there should be.
You know, these are murderers, rapists, and other convicted criminals, and they appear to be having a pretty good time in prison.
And I don't like it, but it's a problem that we face today, and it's something that we work hard on every day.
And once you see the videos, you'll see why crime victims advocates like Verna Wyatt are infuriated. What we've uncovered is like a highlight reel of audacity.
That's the world right there.
That's convicted murderer Rivera Peoples. Here's the contraband iPhone he uses to make the videos. Listen to his buddy talk about getting high behind bars.
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Then he asked Peoples about how much money he's collected while he's been in prison.
How much money you got, Phil? 1,000?
I got 1,000. I'm 1,000. I'm definitely 1,000.
And he's not alone. Here's a photo we found of an inmate holding $200, and another inmate shared the same photo on his Facebook page, just like you would share a picture you liked. But let's get back to the videos.
You see me?
Peoples and his criminal pals are back. This time, it's daytime in the prison yard, telling everyone on Facebook that life behind bars, not so tough.
Between me and you, man, you feel me? This ain't half bad.
Let there be light, and a lot of it at Legislative Plaza in downtown Nashville.
You can never turn the lights off when you leave. They're just always on.
State Representative Sherry Jones says in her 20 years here, the lights in the offices and halls stay on 24/7. Don't believe it? Watch for yourself. We let our cameras roll all afternoon, overnight into the next morning, and they stayed on the entire time.
At home, when you're trying to save money, you turn the lights off. So if we're going to try to save money, we need to be able to turn the lights off.
The Channel 4 I-Team wanted to know exactly how much that's costing the taxpayers. We obtained the monthly power bills for Legislative Plaza, the neighboring War Memorial Building, and the Capitol. While the Capitol is on its own meter, Legislative Plaza and the War Memorial Building share a meter. And last year, the cost for Legislative Plaza and the War Memorial Building topped $500,000. That's more than triple what taxpayers spent to power the Capitol, where the lights do turn off. And so far this year, we've all paid more than $360,000 to keep the lights on 24 hours a day at Legislative Plaza.
When you look at a building where the lights are on 24/7, is that a drain on the taxpayer?
Well, it's really more of a safety issue.
This month, as we celebrate our independence, Channel 4 is asking, is enough being done to help the men and women who protect us?
It's not just me. It's thousands and thousands of veterans out there.
Are we keeping the promise to take care of the brave men and women fighting new battles here at home?
I definitely do believe they should have done more.
Deny, deny, deny till they die.
All this month, we're asking, who's keeping the promise to veterans?
What started as a high-speed chase, swerving lanes, barely missing other cars, ended in the suicide of Fort Campbell Army Specialist Rico Rawls. Investigators say right before the chase, he killed his wife, fellow soldier Jessica Rawls. When Rico Rawls ultimately ran off the road that night, he took his own life.
You dead? Yeah, he shot himself.
Rico's sister, Kiana Rawls, says her brother, who had deployed to Iraq twice, had all the classic symptoms of PTSD.
I didn't really recognize my brother. I didn't recognize the person that he was.
But a Channel 4 I-Team investigation found before the murder and the dangerous chase, Rawls was not diagnosed with PTSD. In fact, an Army investigator wrote, no documentation or testimony from Specialist Rawls' unit or care providers to indicate he was suffering from PTSD.
It was obvious. Why didn't the Army think it was obvious?
Rawls is among the 17 Fort Campbell soldiers who've committed suicide in 2011 and 2012. The Channel 4 I-Team obtained and reviewed the Army investigations of all the soldiers' deaths. Some of the investigations have been heavily redacted by the Army. At least 3 never deployed and killed themselves. Some who did not deploy didn't show symptoms of combat stress and still killed themselves. There is no evidence in the files that we received that any of the soldiers were ever diagnosed with PTSD. And in 5 of the suicides, family told either investigators or reporters that they believed their soldier had PTSD.
There were nights where I would wake up in the middle of the night and his hands were wrapped around my neck. He would have knives at my throat.
Alicia McCoy's husband, Sergeant Brandon McCoy, deployed several times and was stationed at Fort Campbell when he killed himself. He also was never diagnosed with PTSD. In fact, the Army investigation of his suicide shows he was screened for PTSD 4 times and all were negative. The Army investigation reads he likely killed himself because he was under criminal investigation. His wife says he was innocent.
I think the Army is trying to find a lot of people not having PTSD because they're realizing that it is a bigger problem than they ever thought they had.
We begin with some breaking news. 4 Vanderbilt football players have been suspended.
University officials aren't saying why, but Metro Police tell us the players are being investigated in connection with a sex crime that happened in a dorm. We have a crew headed to Vanderbilt. We'll bring you a live update in just a few minutes.
Here's what we know. Police are telling us something happened inside one of Vanderbilt's dormitory buildings involving 1 female victim, 4 of Vanderbilt's football players, and an alleged sex crime. We're being told that all 4 of those players are underclassmen, none of them too particularly well known by the public, but whatever they're accused of was serious enough to get them suspended indefinitely. Now, all of this is just now starting to come out, so we still have a lot of unknowns.
Live with breaking news. This is Channel 4 News at 6.
Obviously, she has been through a lot, and this investigation has been about her.
Weeks of waiting are over, and the story is starting to unfold. 4 former Vanderbilt football players indicted and arrested today for the rape of an unconscious woman. Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 6. Police say the assault happened in a dorm room.
Now, they say everything came to light after a university worker who was reviewing dorm surveillance video on an unrelated matter saw something suspicious. Channel 4's Kimberly Curtis is live at police headquarters now with the latest. Kimberly?
Well, we know one of those former Vanderbilt football players is now in custody here at the Metro Jail. This is Corey Beatty. He was booked into the jail this afternoon after he was arrested at his Nashville home. Beatty, Brandon Banks, Brandon Vanderberg, and Jaborian Tip McKenzie have all been at the center of this Metro sex crimes investigation after the reported June 23rd sexual assault.
The sex assault scandal has just widened in a significant way. 3 more people have been indicted.
And a Commodore football star is one of them. Vanderbilt wide receiver Chris Boyd is charged with 1 felony count of being an accessory. Now, he's accused of trying to help cover up the reported sexual assault. The school acted swiftly, suspending Boyd from the team.
The most troubling details yet are coming out in the rape case against 4 former Vanderbilt football players.
The attorney now says video of the alleged rape was sent to friends of one of the players. Our chief investigative reporter Jeremy Finley has been piecing this story together this evening. He's at the big board right now with what he's uncovered.
Well, this case is playing out in 2 separate states, here in Nashville, Tennessee, of course, but also in Riverside County, California. That is where Miles Finley and Joseph Quinzio are charged with tampering with evidence. Well, the Channel 4 I-team has pieced together how these 2 are linked to the case. And tonight, Quinzio's attorney confirms to me that his client received video of the alleged rape, and when Quinzio realized the seriousness of it, he went to investigators. What began as a high school friendship at Xavier College Prep has now landed these 3 friends in jail, all entangled in a web that is rapidly unraveling.
Just horrible. What is happening to him?
Attorney Brett Greenfield confirms to the Channel 4 I-team his client, Joseph Quinzio, received video by text message of the alleged rape of an unconscious female student that occurred on Vanderbilt's campus. Greenfield says when his client got the video, it frightened him.
This is a good young man trying to do the right thing that was initially put in a very bad situation. He was scared. He didn't know how to react to the situation.
So how did Quinzio, who lives in Riverside County, California, get the video from Nashville, Tennessee? Social media and court records tell the tale. Former Vanderbilt football player Brandon Vandenberg is charged not only with 5 counts of rape and 2 counts of sexual battery, but also for photographing the female and passing on the photographs to others. In this case, it's video. Vandenberg was high school buddies with Quinzio. Here they are on their football team. Here they are just hanging around. On Quinzio's Facebook page, he's not only friends with Vandenberg, but also fellow former Xavier student Miles Finley. Now, both Quinzio and Finley are charged with tampering with evidence. In this case, the video of the alleged rape, something Quinzio's attorney denies.
He's being accused of somehow tampering with or destroying evidence, and nothing could be further from the truth.
When severe weather strikes, only Channel 4 goes with you with live streaming video on our mobile app and a tool no one else has, Real Live Radar. Lisa Spencer and Forewarned Live Doppler Radar, only on Channel 4.
Look at the condensation funnel we reference when we're talking about tornadoes. That's that lowering that extends down from the cloud base. That is very well defined today. So that's a number one, a good sign that the tornado was quite strong. But number two, a good sign that we just had tremendous moisture, tremendous humidity in the atmosphere to work with to make that cloud. That's in fact a cloud toward the base of the cloud that extends into the lower part of the funnel, and then the very base of the funnel itself is probably some debris, perhaps some of the field being picked up, some parts of that farm that got hit being tossed around. So just a really awful tornado.
One person has been killed actually in the Abernathy Road area. Somebody tried to take shelter in a shed and the shed blew over, and so there has been one fatality in the metro area as these storms have moved through. What you're looking at is some structural damage there. This is from Mount Juliet, and we saw this report earlier of the top floor of a 3-floor building that's basically been, the roof has been ripped off and then the top floor has blown in, basically. So you see damage there. That's right in the vicinity of what was a very strong area of rotation in the Mount Juliet area in Wilson County. So now we're starting to see pictures of the damage that has happened as these storms have moved through. The current situation right now, the strongest area of rotation that we're monitoring is in western Clay County. It's moving towards Salina, so you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. It's moving just to the east of Red Boiling Springs, but it's going to be in Salina within the next 10 minutes or so, and then other areas of rotation up and down this line.
So if you're in those communities, make sure you head to your safe place, and that is going to be, if you've got a basement, that's fantastic. If you don't have a basement, then you'll want to head to the lowest level of your home, and that's maybe a bathroom or a closet. Take some pillows in there with you, blanket. If you've got a sports helmet of some kind, that also can add extra protection when we have the potential of a tornado moving through. And the storm is headed very close to Murfreesboro. Paul, we've got someone on the phone.
We do. We have John Jewell from Wilson County. I'm going to toss to him in just one second, but I just want to emphasize what Lisa said. In Murfreesboro right now, you need to be in your safe spot immediately. We are going to talk to John Jewell from Wilson County because we have had reports of damage. Mount Juliet in Lebanon. Mr. Jewell, thanks for talking with us real quickly. What are you seeing right now in Wilson County?
We've had our weather team on line since about 1:32 this morning. Things are a little bit sketchy. There is apparent damage in the Mount Juliet area. We had a report of one of the restaurants there on Lebanon Road had a roof off. We've been investigating the area, and there have been some other situations around the county of limbs and wires down. We had one brush fire a little bit ago that was set off by a downed power line. We are investigating those calls as they come in the Mount Juliet areas.
This is the path that the tornado took well, according to one resident, just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. It took out that house. That is the main house. Now, that house you're looking at, we're on the Roby Farms. Let me give you a little backstory here. Roby Farms, hundreds of acres of dairy farm, corn, and wheat. But when the owner, Lee Roby, saw this tornado coming through straight at that house, he took 2 employees who were next door at the office, his mother, put them in the bathtub, and he was on top of them because he did not want the tornado to injure them. And it's just an amazing sight here.
And the latest sweep just came on by, and notice that hook is even more well-defined. So again, if you're on the south side of Franklin right now, down, it looks like 431, we'll put some streets back on here. You need to be hunkered down in your safe spot.
The train spotter said he did see a tornado that was about 6 miles west of Franklin. So this is the signature that we're tracking right now, the most likely spot that this tornado is located.
The gentleman was at the TV eating breakfast, and the round hit him dead in the eye.
A .44 caliber bullet with not far to travel. First it struck a thin picture frame, then watch. 5/8 of an inch of drywall, some insulation, then another thin sheet of drywall on the other side before making its way through. When we say 5/8 of an inch of drywall, this is exactly what we're talking about. Not very thick, not very strong, not nearly strong enough to stop a speeding bullet.
8-year-old Damian Massey has a secret he seldom shares.
I live in the homeless shelter.
This is his dorm room at Nashville's Rescue Mission. 14 bunk beds are jammed tightly together. Do the math, and that's 28 beds, but it's rarely 28 people in here.
Like last night we had, I believe it was 27 moms and 42 children. And with a dorm with 28 beds in it, you know, we got to get creative with our sleeping arrangements.
In Nashville, it's estimated that at least 50 children every night are homeless. It's a life lived often without hope.
Wow, you did a great job.
Linda Solomon is hoping to change that. She's a well-known celebrity photographer, taking pictures of the famous. But on this day in Nashville,
What can you capture right here today?
the camera won't be in her hands.
I'm taking some pictures of snacks.
She's handing them out for free to the kids, all part of her nationwide program, Pictures of Hope, where homeless children, for a rare moment, get to be in charge.
You ready? 1, 2, 3. Turned out pretty good.
Their assignment is go take a picture of your dream.
Got it.
Damien has a list of dreams.
Have my own house. Meet Beyonce. Go to Alaska.
Linda sees the dreams when the photos come in.
There are so many that have touched me. I mean, a child who was only hoping for his own bed and photographed a little bed. Another child who said, I hope to be nicer than the people who look down upon me, and illustrated that dream by photographing the word believe.
This was Damien minutes after getting his camera.
I thought, this is going to be mine forever. I'm going to take pictures of things I think I might need or want one day.
Any idea what you might be taking pictures of?
Houses. More and more.
A dream home is something we all want.
There we go.
It's just their idea of a dream home is different.
Be rich, be an artist, find a home, move into a home.
Michael Weaver is 8 years old too.
It's good.
Just a block from his homeless shelter, Damien found his dream photo.
Here we go. I like the color of it. I like the lamp inside right now. I like the braids.
Reality says this whole project might just be a dream, but the hope is to inspire hope in a life that can at times be hopeless.
Changing a life. It's one life at a time. That's all that matters.
Yes! I finally got it.
I just kept thinking, I'm going to wake up. You know, I'm going to wake up from this. This is not happening to me.
Stephanie Gray still struggles with her son's final moments.
It's an image that I would love to forget. To see your child, who hours before was perfectly healthy, happy, lying lifeless in his car seat. He was very pale and his lips were blue, and he clearly was not responsive.
It was supposed to be her son's second day at daycare. The morning of August 7th, she dropped off the couple's other 3 children at school and thought she'd also dropped off Joel. She went home, worked in her office, and even emailed pictures of her newborn to family. That afternoon, she went to pick up Joel from daycare, but was told she'd never dropped him off.
I was just frozen with the fear of, where is my child? You know, what have I done? Where is he? You know, and immediately it struck me like a bolt of lightning, the car.
It was 2:30 in the afternoon, and Joel was still in his car seat, hours after she placed him there for the morning drive to daycare. Temperatures outside reached into the 90s, even hotter in the car.
I bet this all looks familiar, doesn't it? You can almost smell the concessions. It's Little League Baseball, Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. There you go, run, Stevie, run! It doesn't look all that different than when we played, but it is.
Everybody's included. Everybody gets to bat. Everybody gets to come around the base. Everybody gets to score.
Safe! It's called Buddy Ball, and it's where special needs children get to feel pretty ordinary. And that feels pretty darn good.
This is the best thing that this community has ever done.
Tommy Lee Kidd is the commissioner of Buddy Ball, a commissioner who breaks every rule of baseball joyfully.
You can do it. You can do it.
If youth sports are competitive, impatient, and demanding, This is none of that.
Okay, back up, fellas.
Take little Chase Pryor. Forget about waiting for the perfect pitch. With Chase, you must wait for that perfect swing. On a tee, this at-bat took 1 minute and 53 seconds. And then a wild detour down to first base.
Good hit. Good hit. Give me 5. There you go.
Hi, Cindy. How are you? I just got the tape and you talked about your birthday party and it sounded like you really had a good time. Hey, you guy, you ate my cupcake. Well, I'll have to eat that when I come home at Christmas then, huh?
Cindy Stonebreaker of Hopkinsville has made a discovery that's changed her life. 2 years ago, she found old reel-to-reel tapes in her mother's attic with the voice of her father, Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Stonebreaker.
He sent this tape on his way to the mission that he did not return from. And when you close your eyes and you listen to it, you are listening to a daddy talking to his little girl.
I don't know where I'm at sometimes. I'm just listening to music and I'm playing. And I see colors with music.
Start spreading the news. Trumpet soloist and singer Ron Michaels has a new gig. The spot's downtown Clarksville. Shows start in the morning and run 7 to 8 hours a day. But for Michaels, that time just flies when he's in that zone.
And I mean never. Well, I played for Tony Bennett. I played for Tom Jones, Rosemary Clooney, Patti LaBelle, Frida Payne.
I think I hurt myself. But before life performing on stages and streets, Michael served in the Vietnam War playing with the Army Band.
We were musicians. We just played where Bob Hope wouldn't go, that's all. I was scared, but I was never, I never thought I was going to die. I was hitchhiking home. I got spit on. Well, it wasn't too nice. When I was hitchhiking home, it was just miserable the way they treated us.
But now living in the Army community of Clarksville, Michael says things are so different.
And I think to myself. And over here, they treat you with respect. And I'm surprised. I'm not used to that. I'm really not used to that.